Jimmy Martin was born on January 15, 1949, in Dallas, Texas, the son of Martin William and Barbara Kelly Joste. His grandfather, Barbara's dad, was Forrest Kelly of Wichita, Kansas, a successful wildcatter and CEO of Barbara's At-O-Lite Petrolite Corporation. His grandfather's love of the oil business inspired Jimmy to follow in his footsteps. Jim's grandfather is in the Memorial area. He graduated from Memorial High School and attended the University of Texas at Austin. Many remember Barbara's house on Potomac as the place for dinner parties, with Jimmy often cooking for 20 people, several nights a week. He was the perfect host, with everyone always feeling well-fed and amused by his great jokes, even if he told the same joke many times. He pioneered horizontal oil and gas drilling in the family's oil business. He and his girlfriend, Rhonda Glover, had a son. A resident of Family, Texas, he died there in Travis County, Texas, of gunshot wounds allegedly inflicted by his domestic partner and the mother of his son. He is survived by his brother, Kelly William Joste of Houston, and his son, John Chandler Joste, as well as many wonderful friends. He will be missed deeply. He was preceded in death by his brother, John Forrest Joste, his father, Martin William Joste, and his mother, Barbara Kelly Joste. His amazing love and devotion to his son were evident to all his friends. A memorial service was held at St. Martin's Episcopal Church. His murder was later featured on the television series Snapped. On Sunday, July 23, 2004, Emmy Jo and Rhonda L. Glover dated for 15 years and had a 10-year-old son. On Sunday, Jimmy Joste was found slain in his Austin home. A week after Rhonda Lee Glover bought a 9mm Glock pistol at an Austin gun store and firing range, Austin police said she showed up at a Houston shooting range with her 10-year-old son seeking shooting lessons and advice. How do you shoot someone in the head while they are sitting on a couch and you're coming up from behind? She asked an employee at Top Gun of Texas in early July to an arrest warrant. On Sunday, Glover's longtime boyfriend, Ajao, the father of her son Aisha Wo, was found dead in his south of Glover's home, shot 13 times, and Glover, 38, had hit the road going north in a rented white recreational vehicle. On Tuesday, Kansas Highway Patrol officers traced Glover's cell phone signals to the RV parked outside the Golden Ox truck stop in Hayes. Glover's Highway Patrol Lieutenant Mark Deterting said Glover had stopped to buy milk for her son. Wearing a yellow sundress, she surrendered and was charged with murdering 55-year-old James Martin, Jimmy Joste. Glover's Houston-based lawyer, Paul J. Smith, declined to comment Wednesday. While Glover's in jail in Ellis County, Con, on a $1 million bail, Joste's friends and family are trying to fathom why anyone would kill a man who had a nervous heart. His only fault was that he loved women so much he probably overdid it. In the general department, said Rocky Navarro, a local real estate agent who has been friends with Joste for 15 years. Men like us can be taken advantage of if the wrong woman gets hold of us. Joste was an oil patch millionaire from Houston. An entrepreneur friend said was always looking for the next big oil strike. In the 1980s, they said, he jumped into horizontal drilling, which was becoming the new technique to reach hard-to-tap oil reserves. Friends say Joste's 15-year relationship with Glover started at a party at a friend's ranch. Though Joste was married to her, they had a child together, and he bought friends' cars and houses, including the Austin house where Joste was found dead. Everything she had, he gave to her, said Stan Weiner, a former Houston oilman. Weiner and others said they don't know much about Glover's past, but her presence caused them to think about her past. Weiner said Glover and Joste's relationship was on and off and frequently troubled. Kelly Joste's brother, Joste's, whose family's oil money goes back 3 generations, Roro had countless friends in Houston. Families oilmen like himself who enjoyed the company of beautiful women and frequented the Palm restaurant near the Galleria. In that circle, Joste was the life of the party, slipping outlandish tips to servers and picking up friends' tabs, said Danny Davis, who said he'd known Joste since they were boys. Joste friends had money, but friends are unsure whether it came from a family inheritance or his entrepreneurial forays into the family business. Kelly Joste says Jimmy went through the inheritance quickly and spent much of it on Glover. Even if he were broke, you would never know it, he said. Joste's Austin friend Navarro said Joste was giving Glover at least $10,000 a month. Joste, you kill the goose laying the golden egg, he said. This guy was beloved. He didn't have an enemy. When they shared a beer on July 20th, Navarro said Joste steered the conversation away from himself and his relationship with Glover. Austin police said the last entry on Joste's cell phone was a call to Navarro the next morning, a call the real estate agent missed. That same morning, according to the arrest warrant, Glover and her son, John Chandler Joste, showed up at a friend's house in Cedar Park. With the rented RV, police said Glover had moved out of their friend's limestone house in the park at Travis Country, a gated subdivision, with several couples. She was probably living in Houston, where she has family. Glover's. The warrant said a friend took her to rent a white Ford Taurus, which Glover's. The warrant said a friend took her to rent a white Ford Taurus, which Glover's. When Glover returned to the couple's home a few hours later, she gathered up her son and said they were headed to the couple's. Police said Glover had been reported missing in Houston since March. Glover's aunt went to the Austin house on Sunday, hoping to find her. Instead, she saw Glover's age door and a utility door open and called 911. An Austin police officer found the decomposing body of Jimmy Joste lying near the doorway of his upstairs bedroom, his 160-pound frame perforated with bullets that police say their ballistics tests show markings on the slug were consistent with a Glock weapon. Police say the couple's son lives with a foster family in Kansas, while officials work out where the couple's son will live. According to Kelly Joste, Glover's mother, Sherlyn Shotwell, has legal custody. Shotwell could not be reached for Glover's. According to U.S. Marshal Hector Gomez, Glover is expected to be extradited to Texas within a couple of weeks. In addition to first-degree murder, Glover is charged with falsifying her address on a firearm application, a federal crime. On Wednesday, July 9, 2008, the Oilmans of Criminal Appeals has declined a petition to review the Travis County murder, conviction, and a 46-year prison sentence of Rhonda Glover, a former rodeo queen who killed her on-again, off-again oilman boyfriend Jimmy Joste in 2004. The Third Court of Appeals in Austin affirmed the sentence and conviction. However, the High Criminal Court's decision to decline review in the case, filed last week, means the conviction court's sentence stands. Glover, who owned an employee recruiting business, shot Joste 10 times in the home on Mission Oaks Boulevard in southwest Austin, where they once shared. At the time, Joste lived there alone. Before the shooting, she had taken firearms training, and one of her trainers testified she once asked how to shoot someone from behind while he was sitting on a sofa. She had practiced firing her gun the day of the shooting at Red's indoor range in Oak Hill. Glover and Joste had a history of delusional behavior, Red's use, excessive drinking, and domestic abuse, according to trial testimony. Glover once told a Child Protective Services worker checking on the couple's son, who was 9 when Joste was shot, that the boy was Jesus Christ. Joste said the couple could pull stars from the sky. Prosecutors said Glover had grown sick of Joste after draining him of most of his FA, Ely, and self-made wealth. Glover said it was self-defense. Her testimony in her defense made for great courtroom drama. On Tuesday, February 21, 2006, a Travis County, Texas, jury found Rhonda Glover guilty of murder this afternoon in the stinging death of her longtime boyfriend. Glover, 39, a former Miss Houston contestant who ran an employee recruiting business, faces up to life in prison when the punishment phase of the trial begins Wednesday. Glover's testimony that she killed Jimmy Joste to protect herself was trash, a prefabricated story, prosecutor Brian Case told the jury during closing arguments. Today, the case called on the 9 women and men on the jury to recognize Glover's crocodile tears and find her guilty. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. On Friday, Glover testified that she went to the Southwest Austin house the couple once shared, where Joste Glover's living alone always, to drop off her handgun and pick up camping gear in preparation for a trip to Nashville with the couple's son. Now 11 Glover told the jury she had been avoiding Joste for months because he would drink too much and beat her. She didn't think Joste would be at the house, but he came home, yelled at her, and grabbed her throat. "I shot him," she testified, sobbing on the stand. "I shot him because I thought he was going to kill me." Earlier Tuesday, prosecutors called several of Joste's friends to rebut Glover's testimony that Joste beat him. They testified that Joste was peaceful and docile, and that Glover was an aggressive woman with a reputation for being a liar. Prosecutors said Joste, 55, grew tired after spending much of his money during their on-again, off-again relationship, which began in 1990. Friends testified that Joste inherited millions from his family, which was in the oil business and earned more by pioneering horizontal oil and gas drilling in the 1980s. Prosecutors said Glover carefully planned the murder, starting by purchasing the Glock 19 handgun and taking shooting lessons in the months before the shooting. Then, on July 21, 2004, according to testimony, she rented a car, drove it to a shooting range in Oak Hill, shot the gun at the range for about 20 minutes, then went to the house on Mission Oaks Boulevard off Southwest Parkway, in the upstairs bedroom and hallway. Glover emptied the gun's magazine, shooting Joste 10 times according to testimony. She lured him to the house, prosecutor Gail Van Winkle said. He worshipped this woman, and she surprised him with the gun and started shooting. During closing arguments, Glover's defense lawyer, Joste Soithat, told the jury that Joste was obsessed with Glover. He cited testimony that he withdrew more than $1 million from a bank in early 2004, and Joste Glover asked Glover for Glover's engagement ring in early 2004, which Glover testified she knew about and declined.